Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to Your Health live show, coming to you directly from Ikra TV studios here in Bradford. Alhamdulillah. Welcome back, mashallah. Before the break, we were going through the symptoms of influenza and cold, how they are different from each other. We mentioned how influenza and cold viruses are spread, and which group of people can be for whom these symptoms can be quite lethal: small children and those who are immune system compromised, and elderly people as well. And I mentioned some homeopathic, well, before I mentioned the homeopathic remedies, I mentioned a very easily accessible and easily preparable a concoction which is so good for influenza and cold, and everyone should be having this even as a prophylactic treatment to avoid getting these colds and coughs. And that is a tea made from garlic, a small bit of garlic I mentioned, just cut a small piece of garlic up and put it into the pan with hot water, grate a small amount of ginger, let it boil thoroughly, add half a lemon in and put some honey in, and then drink this. This is so powerful. It gets rid of bacteria, gets rid of viruses, it just strengthens the immune system, no end. And I mentioned something that I take, something called Allicin Max, which is a natural antibiotic. I mean, maybe 2 days ago I had severe influenza symptoms, so I took 11 of these Allicin Max, mashallah, and I took 2 vitamin C, 1000 mgs bioflavonoids included vitamin C, and alhamdulillah, by the grace of Allah, I'm feeling a lot better, alhamdulillah. And I'm not even taking any Allicin Max capsule today. I need to go and take another maybe 9-10 today as well, inshallah. It's made from garlic. It's made from garlic, mashallah. It's really beneficial. Influenza is no joke, my friends. People who got influenza, when they're coughing, bijari, their whole life stops. They have to be at home, the children can't be in school, and now there's a virus with vomiting going around and diarrhea going around. May Allah keep us safe, because once it comes to one person, it spreads like wildfire in the whole house, and everyone pretty much stops. They can't go to work, can't go to school. They're doing hivs, the hiv stops, you know. So this method I've said to you about garlic and ginger and lemon half and some honey is very important, mashallah. And another thing, if you do have influenza, you should start taking the a chelated form of ascorbic acid, or a chelated form of vitamin C. Like you can get this from the reason for taking this is that if you just take normal vitamin C, after 1 to 3 grams you will have diarrhea. It's very astringent. But if you take the chelated form of that, you'll find it a lot easier to tolerate, and you can take 10-11 grams of it daily, and it's very, very beneficial. Okay, so remedies for flu in homeopathic medicine. Number 1 remedy, rus tox. I mentioned rus tox, when you have flushes of heat, flushes of cold. It's like you feel like you're being drenched with cold water. That's how cold you're feeling. You can't have enough duvets on you. That's how cold you feel, rus tox. So if you have influenza symptoms, a runny nose, sneezing, coughing, sore throat, headache, high temperature, and the body feels like it's been beaten, rus tox is your remedy, inshallah. Especially if you're very, very alert, you want the room to be clean. Another remedy is Nux vomica. This is a remedy where you have flu, you got the flu symptoms, आपके पास नज़ला भी है, ज़ुकाम भी है, सर के अंदर दर्द भी है, गले के अंदर भी ख़ारिश है, थकावट भी है, खांसी भी है, बहुत ज़्यादा कमज़ोरी भी है, जितने भी ये इन्फ्लुएंजा के सिम्टम्स हैं आपके पास हैं, इसके साथ साथ आपको घबराहट हो रही है, you're having anxiety, and you're feeling very thirsty as well. You're feeling thirsty. You're very cold, but you're thirsty. Or, other side, you're feeling very hot and you're not thirsty. So chilliness and thirsty, and heat and no thirst. So it's contradictory symptoms. So if you have these contradictory symptoms where you're feeling hot but you're not thirsty, or you're feeling cold and you are thirsty, and you've got the flu symptoms and you're full of anxiety, this remedy will help you. Especially where the body and the face especially where the face feels burning hot, but the person's body feels very, very chilly. Every time he moves, he feels cold. If this is your symptoms of influenza, then this remedy called Nux vomica will inshallah cure you. You can get these remedies from your यानी कि local health food store. You can order them on the internet. There's some very good pharmacies. So 2 remedies I mentioned for flu. One was Rustox, amazing remedy, especially when you are feeling like someone's poured cold water over you. It's so cold and you're very alert. And the second remedy was Nux vomica, where you have this strange paradox that even though you're hot, you're not thirsty. Or if you're very cold, you are thirsty, along with the symptoms of influenza. This you will see. And Nux vomica is a very, very agitated, irritated, irritable remedy. So if you've got this cold and cough, you're very angry, you are kind of telling people, even though you're not well, you're in the bed, you're telling everybody off from your bed, you don't leave anybody, you spare nobody. So you got influenza symptoms and you're very irritable, you're very angry. Nobody wants to sit next to you because you're in such a bad mood. You're such a terrible grouch. No one wants to be with you. You feel sorry for yourself. But alongside that, you've got the influenza symptoms and you've got this strange paradox where you are feeling cold, yeah, but you're not thirsty. You are not thirsty. Oh, sorry, you are thirsty. You're feeling cold and you are thirsty. Or you're feeling hot and you're not thirsty. Strange, because when you're cold, you don't feel thirsty, do you? Tender. And when you're hot, you do feel thirsty. So if you are hot and you're not feeling thirsty, or if you're cold and you are feeling thirsty, and you have the symptoms of influenza, weakness, sneezing, a runny nose, runny eyes, headache, high temperature, muscle weakness, then this remedy called Nux vomica will help you. And the dose to take in these is always a 30C, 2-3 times a day, inshallah. The healing will start. And sometime, if it's the right remedy, you give away a high potency, 1M, then straight away you can feel the energy coming together and you feel your body fighting off this virus. It's an amazing feeling. But for that you need to go to a homeopath who can give you them high potencies. तो ये 2 दवाई हो गई हैं. एक दवाई थी रोस्टॉक्स और दूसरी दवाई थी नक्स वोमिका. रोस्टॉक्स के बारे में बताया था कि अगर आपको ये जो इन्फ्लुएंजा के सिम्टम के साथ आपको ये अजीब महसूस हो रहा है कि आपकी जिस्म बहुत ठंडा है, इतना ठंडा कि किसी ने आप पर ठंडा पानी की पूरी यानी बर्तन डाल दिया, अगर ये है आपके सिम्टम है तो ये जो दवाई है रोस्टॉक्स आपको फ़ायदे देगी. और दूसरी दवाई का नाम था नक्स वोमिका. ये उन लोगों के लिए है जिनको अगरचे उनको बहुत गर्मी आ रही है लेकिन उनको प्यास नहीं आती, या उनको बहुत ठंडी है और ठंडी के बावजूद उनको प्यास की अशद गोए के पानी के अशद तकाज़ा होते हैं. तो अगर ये सिम्टम आपके हैं कि आपको इन्फ्लुएंजा भी है, इन्फ्लुएंजा के साथ आपको ठंडी लग रही है और ठंडी के साथ आपको ठंडे पानी की पीने की शौक़ है, या आपको बहुत गर्मी है और गर्मी के बावजूद आपको यानी कि प्यास की ज़रूरत नहीं है, तो ये जो दवाई है नक्स वोमिका, इनसे आपको बहुत फ़ायदा होगा इंशाल्लाह. नक्स वोमिका इज़ वेरी गुड. Now, so these 2 are remedies with remedy for flu with fever and a flu with anxiety. नक्स वोमिका के अंदर ये भी था, नक्स वोमिका के अंदर कि आपको घबराहट बहुत ज़्यादा हो रही है. Another remedy for cold is the famous remedy called allium cepa. Allium cepa is made from the common onion. What happens when you cut an onion? Your nose is running, your eyes are running. These are symptoms of a cold. So allium cepa is a medicine used to treat flu infections where there is a constant sneezing. You're always sneezing, achoo, 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 all through the day, bichare. They sneeze so much. It's a good remedy for hay fever as well, by the way. Sneezing occurs more in a warm room. You're in a warm room and you're sneezing more. Allium cepa. Allium cepa, la ilaha illallah. Allium cepa is a remedy for allium cepa is a remedy for when you are sneezing a lot, especially worse in a warm room, and there's a copious watery acrid discharge from the nostrils. Your eyes are running, your nose are running. But with allium cepa, it's the nose that burns. Allium cepa, euphrasia is another remedy where the eyes burn. So this differentiation is very important in homeopathic medicine. ये जो एलियम सीप है नज़र ज़ुकाम की दवाई है, लेकिन इसके जो सिम्टम्स, क्योंकि होम्योपैथी के अंदर सिम्टम को बनाना पड़ता है. जो सिम्टम्स आपके हैं अगर वो सिम्टम्स दवाई के अंदर पाए जाते हैं तो आपको शिफा होगी अल्लाह के हुक्म के साथ. तो ये होम्योपैथी सिमिलिया सिमिलिबस कुरेंटर, like cure like. What can cause these symptoms when you give in normal state of medicine, when you give that in homeopathic state of medicine, it just wipes out the symptoms of the illness. Allium cepa, where there's a constant sneezing. Sneezing is worse in a warm room, and there's a lot of watery discharge from the nose, which is burning. And your eyes are also watery and they're red, but they're not burning. The nostrils are burning. So if you go and see a person who's got eyes are running, nose is running, and his nose is really burning, then you ask him, ask this person if he's sneezing, that's another sign. And the third thing is if the sneezing is worse in a warm room. So if sneezing is worse in a warm room and there's a lot of sneezing and then the nasal area is red and acrid and burning, you can give him Allium cepa and he will thank you, inshallah, or she will thank you. Moving on to another remedy called Sabadilla. Sabadilla is for people, again, a lot of sneezing, but very sensitive to smells. They can't stand any odors, especially smell of flowers or garlic. They can't stand the smell of flowers or garlic. It's a good hay fever remedy, Sabadilla as well. Again, a lot of sneezing, but very sensitive to smells. So if somebody in your family has hay fever symptom and it's triggered by smell of flowers or garlic, or they have a influenza and they say we don't like the smell of flowers or this garlic, and they've got a lot of sneezing, and what triggers it is smells and odors, Sabadilla is the remedy. 30C potency 3 times a day. Moving on to another remedy where you have flu with a nasal discharge. So the remedy for that is Arsenicum album for flu with the nasal discharge, but this discharge from the nose is very thin, yeah, either one nostril or the other nostril, and it's very thin and it's burning. Burning is the keynote of Arsenicum album. Arsenicum album, again, is like Noxomica, is very, very particular. They like to be clean. Their clothes have to be clean. Make sure there's no, like nothing on their clothes. Have to be very, very clean. And they're very careful. They're very particular, very OCD. They're very alert. They talk a lot. And I dare add, Arsenicum people are very kind of, what's the word? They are like hypochondriacs. They have an influenza, they think they've got cancer. Have a headache, they think they've got a tumor. That's how they are. They just assume the worst. That's Arsenicum. So if you've got influenza symptoms and you are very much like this kind of person where everything you think is the worst, and you have the symptom where your nasal discharge particularly is just a small, and you'll ask them and they say, it's this discharge from the nose, oh, it's burning me so much, it won't go away. Then give them this Arsenicum album, mashallah. It's really good to treat flu where you have a thin, watery excoriate. Excoriate means burning discharge from the nose, and there's burning and itching in the nose, another symptom. Arsenicum will cure it, inshallah. Pulsatilla, where you have fluid discharge. It's a medicine used to treat flu symptoms where there's a yellowish-green discharge. A yellowish-green discharge is infected. Where there's yellow or green discharge, that is infected. Which is worse indoors. Pulsatilla doesn't like to be indoors. They're very hot. They like to be outside. So if you've got yellow, green discharge from the nose, from the eyes, wherever it may be, from the flame, from the chest, you got the flu symptoms, you're very changeable, you like sympathy, and you're better outside and worse inside, a remedy Pulsatilla will help. It's an infection remedy, Pulsatilla. A very good remedy for infections. See, now you see why the homeopathic ask so many questions from the patients. They have to know all these symptoms. They have to use like a Venn diagram and cross-reference. This is just for influenza. Imagine other symptoms. It's such my first appointment is 2 hours, and it's there for a reason, so I can get all the symptoms. And imagine the patient who says yes, no, yes, no. They don't even answer, so it becomes tedious. But you have to try your best to find the symptoms and the remedies. Moving on to another remedy called Sambucus. Sambucus is a very good remedy, mashallah. In fact, before Sambucus, let's look at something called ammonium carbonicum for flu with the stuffy nose. Some people say I've got flu, but the biggest thing is my nose is so blocked. That's what's disturbing me. Where you've got a stuffy nose, but there's a lot of coryza coming. So it feels like the nose is stuffy, but in reality, the nose is running. So a feeling of stuffiness in the nose, but nose is running, and the flu symptoms, and you can't breathe through the nose. Ammonium carbonicum is very good for this. Ammonium carbonicum is a remedy for flu with coryza, where you feel that your nose is blocked, but it's not blocked. You have a discharge from the nose. Moving on to sambucus, another remedy where there's numbness and itching in the nose. You have numbness, you can't feel the nostrils. You have itching, your nose feels blocked and there's a lot of thick mucus in the nostrils. If that's the case, then this remedy called sambucus, you actually get this from some health food shops which boosts the immune system of children, sambucus. Here is a homeopathic remedy for people who have a numbness sensation in the nostrils, there's an itching in the nostrils feel blocked, and there's a lot of thick mucus in the nostrils. You'll see a flu patient where the symptom are with the eyes, some with the nose, some with other areas. You have to focus on what area they have that's causing them this distress. Where is the influenza centered on? Moving on to flu with muscle aches. Flu with muscle aches. There's two remedies for this. One is gelsemium, one is euphatoриum perfoliatum. Flu with severe muscle aches. So euphatoриum perfoliatum is a medicine used to treat flu with severe muscle aches, chills, and before you get the chills, you get thirst. You feel thirsty, and then you feel that you are very cold, very sore, aching of the bones, pains all over the body, weak pulse, physical prostration. That's euphatoриum perfoliatum. You know, you're thirsty. Gelsemium is another remedy, but that isn't very thirsty. This one is. Moving on to bryonia. Bryonia is a big medicine where all your symptoms are worse by any kind of move. You move in the bed, your coughing starts. You move in the bed, your cold starts. You move in the bed, your sneezing starts. Anything that starts negative in your symptoms of influenza is preceded by moving. You just want to stay still in that bed. You don't even want to talk because talking makes your symptom worse. Muscles and joints are bursting, tearing pains, and if you just rest, you feel so much better. And it's a very good remedy for dry coughs, not barking, but hacking coughs where you're coughing in paroxysms. Bryonia, the famous remedy. MashaAllah. Number 6, flu with the cough. Rumex is a good remedy where you've got a dry tickling cough that prevents sleep. You have children like this, you see them all the time. They can't sleep because they're coughing, that stops them from sleeping. Rumex is the remedy, R-U-M-E-X. It helps them go sleep. A cough occurs when uncovering clothing or covers from the body or any cold draft. It just makes you cough, and it feels like there's pressure on the throat, or if you talk, it triggers a cough. So if you've got a cough which is triggered by putting something on your chest or by talking, because the air goes in, then the remedy is called Rumex, especially when it stops you from sleeping. Rumex is very good. 30C 3 times daily. Moving on to Drosera. This is a remedy for coughing where there's prolonged and incessant coughing. You're always coughing, cough all the time. You have fits of cough, rapid coughing. Indeed, you have paroxysms of coughing. You cough, then again cough, and continuous coughing. Drosera. And also, the cough is like a whooping cough, a barking cough. Moving on to flu with sore throats. Merc salt is a good remedy for that, where you have burning, where the person says, oh, my throat is hurting me so much. I've got this influenza, but I'm just sick and tired of this sore throat. Remedy is Merc salt. I feel that something stuck there. Merc salt. So remember, if you have a sore throat with influenza, Merc salt is the remedy. Moving on to gelsemium, just like euphatoриum perfoliatum, very feverish, very weak. You feel dizzy if you stand up, but you're not thirsty. Your body and your bones and your muscles feel like they've been battered. And again, arsenicum, restlessness, anxiety, exhaustion. You can give this prophylactically for a influenza. And then, mashallah, the next remedy is after gelsemium is belladonna. Belladonna is a good remedy. This belladonna is for fevers, any kind of fever, throbbing pain, eyes dilated, temples pulsating, high fever. The child is seeing things like cuts, or seeing, he's hallucinating or she's hallucinating. If you're hallucinating because of high temperature, belladonna is an amazing remedy. It just reduces congestion in the blood, this pounding, where your hands and feet are cold, by the way. Your hands and feet are cold, but you've got fever everywhere else because of an impairment in the blood circulation. This belladonna will help you. And finally, natrum muriaticum, where you're sensitive to light. You can't stand light, you have got massive headache which lasts from sunrise to sunset. This remedy is good for you. In hindsight, if you make yourself a cup of tea with ginger, garlic, lemon, honey, that will help you, inshallah. I hope you've benefited Until next week, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.